That would put their price per share at $274. All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I am Tom. I am not a financial advisor. We are here to talk about all things investing. Today, I want to talk to you about a company called CleanSpark, ticker CLSK. So I went into an analysis of this in a previous video. So if you're interested in the other segment of their business, you can take a look at that video where I talk about both segments of the business. Today, I want to focus on Bitcoin because that is where the action is happening right now. My goal today for this video is to go through today's price action. I want to go through a recent press release they did regarding their mining operations. I want to look at some key numbers, and then I put together a projection worksheet. And I want to show you guys what I did and what I came up with, and then we'll talk price target and we'll look at the chart. Let's get to it. Okay, so this is a press release that they put out on August 3rd, just about a week ago. CleanSpark provides updates on Bitcoin mining and energy operations. And again, today in this video, I am just going to focus on the Bitcoin mining portion of this. So mining hash rate capacity now exceeds 740 petahash per second. Daily Bitcoin production tops 6 Bitcoin per day. So those were their numbers in July, and July was their very best month. They are anticipating another 1,670 units capable of producing 148 petahash, or approximately 1.4 Bitcoin per day. The company expects to exceed a hash rate capacity of 1.0 exahash, which would produce approximately 9.3 Bitcoins per day, assuming the current difficulty level, and they're talking about August. CleanSpark expects to approach 2 exahash by the close of the calendar year 2021, and then 3.2 exahash by the end of September 2022. Okay, so the company produced 147.8 Bitcoin during the month of July. Now that was by far their best month. Cumulatively, the company has mined more than 520 Bitcoin since entering the mining sector last December. You'll see that CleanSpark closed at $15.37. That was up $1.69, which is 12.35%. So this was a very big up day for them. 12% for this company is a large move. And I did not know that when I went into making this video. I've been doing this video for a few days, and sure enough, the day I go to put it out, CleanSpark is on fire. So that's okay. It actually helps when we look later. This will help put things into perspective. So here we are sitting at $15.37. So if you look at this green line right here, you'll see that today's action actually just brought this back to the price that it was trading at on July 12th, 2021. So even though today was a giant up day, really just 1 month back and we were trading at that price. And as you can see from this chart, that's actually quite low for CleanSpark. So we'll get back to the chart later. Let's take a look at a few key numbers, and then I want to show you my analysis. Okay, here's a few key numbers that are going to come into play once you see the projections that I've put together. So total outstanding shares of stock for CleanSpark is 34,700,000. So that's a very low amount of total outstanding shares. Total cash that they had, now this is per their March 31st balance sheet, they had $157 million in cash. That is a lot of cash versus total debt of $8,892,000. Their cash to total debt ratio is 18-1, which is phenomenal. My point of this is two things. Number one, they're not running out of cash. They will not need to raise any more cash, in my opinion. The other thing that I wanted to take from that is we looked and they're trading at about $15 today. Well, if you do the math, $4.53 of that is cash. So a third of the value of their stock they have sitting on their balance sheet in cash. So that's very strong. Down below, you'll see two other numbers. Total 2020 revenue. This is an actual per last year's financial statements. They did approximately $10 million in revenue for the year, and their years end on September 30th. So that was the year ended September 30th, 2020. They did $10 million. Now, analysts are estimating that this year, September 30th, 2021, which is next month, they're estimating that the revenue for the year this year will be $51 million. So that's 5x last year's revenue. So you can see CleanSpark is a growth company, and that is massive, massive growth. When you look at my projections, I think they can have some similar growth again next year. So let me break this down for you real quick and show you what I did. And again, I want to point out this is not financial information. These are my estimates based on everything that I've looked at and I've read. I am not a financial advisor. I don't have a crystal ball, but I've done my best due diligence to put these numbers together. You guys can do the same and play around with these and see what you think. So here's what I did. The first thing I did was I took remember they said they had 740 exahash in July. So we know they gave us that information. So based on the computers, the 22,000 computers that they bought, I projected out what the increase in their hash rate is going to be until they've received and installed all of those computers. So it works its way up from 0.74 exahash to 3.24 exahash. And when they started this business in December, they were at 0.2 exahash. So they're going to go from 0.2 in December of 2020 to, it's their goal to be at 3.2 in October of 2022. So that is a 16x on their mining capacity. Now, that assumes they don't buy any more machines past the ones that they purchased back in April. I think you're going to find out most of these miners we see are accumulating more machines. So I've gone and assumed they're going to get no additional machines for the purposes of my calculation. So if they got more machines, then the numbers would just be even larger. So based on this exahash analysis over here, I've calculated the amount of Bitcoin that I think they're going to mine per month. And remember, they did 147 Bitcoin in the month of July. So we know that one is an actual. They estimated that they're going up to 9.3 Bitcoin per day in August. So I've taken the projections from there based on the computer power that they're adding over time. There's a lot of variables in this, one of which is the worldwide difficulty level of Bitcoin mining. I have put a factor in there assuming that the difficulty level is going to increase every single month for the next year. I've tried to account for that, but obviously not financial information. This is my best guess. So I came up with 4,218 Bitcoin that I'm estimating they will mine in the year 2022. As an aside, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell and never miss a video. So that's the 12 months ended September 30th, 2022. So here comes the fun part, and we'll just mess around. I want to show you a few scenarios. So the first one that I have plugged in here is, let's say that by September of 2022, Bitcoin is at $100,000. And again, we're going to run through a few scenarios. I'm calling this one a high case scenario. There's some people that believe Bitcoin's going to go a lot higher than that. But for the sake of this discussion, let's call this my high case scenario. $100,000 Bitcoin. If they mine 4,218 Bitcoin, that's $421 million of revenue in 2022. Now remember, they had $10 million in revenue in 2020. They jumped up to $50 million in revenue in 2021. And if these numbers come in with Bitcoin at 100,000, that would be $421 million of revenue. So that's another 8x in their revenue. We'll look at some other examples that are a little more conservative later. For direct costs, they have about an 80% gross profit margin. I think that's going to get better, but I just left it alone at 80%. That gives them a gross profit. Overhead, I put $20 million of overhead. It looks to me that they've been experiencing $10 million of overhead per year. So just to be conservative, I doubled that and put $20 million of overhead. That brings me to income from operations of $317 million. So with $317 million of income from operations and $34,700,000 total outstanding shares, that would mean that they earned $9.15 per share next year. This would be the other variable. What's their price earnings ratio? I'm just going to show you something real quick. So in this example, I've assumed a PE ratio of 30. That would put their price per share at $274. Now, they're currently trading. We just saw they had a great day today, and that brought them up to $15 a share. Okay, you're saying these numbers are way too high. Let's dial everything back. So let's just do one more scenario real quick. Let's take the estimated price of Bitcoin and say, nope, it's not going to 100,000. Today, it's trading at 46,000 as I'm making this video. So I'm going to plug in, instead of 100,000, I'm going to plug in 45,000 as my estimated price of Bitcoin. So that's assuming no appreciation at all for the next year. Then, so even though the S&P 500 we saw is trading over 30 on the average, so 30 to me is very reasonable. Let's cut that in half and say that for whatever reason, this company's only going to trade at a 15 PE. That leaves us at a share price of $56.99. So that's $57. So I think that's an extremely conservative price target. Obviously, you need to make your own decisions. It's your portfolio. But you can see, in my opinion, when I dial everything back to very conservative numbers, I'm still at $57 a share. This is TipRanks, which you're probably all familiar with. There's currently one analyst covering this, and they have a price target of 50. In my opinion, my ultra conservative price target is 57. If you watch my last video, you'll see that I think it could go much, much higher than that. So the last piece of the puzzle, I want to go back to the chart. If you look at this line right here, this green line, on January 6th, this was trading at $43. The analysts are putting a $50 price tag on it. You can see I've made a bunch of other guesses from there. Hopefully, all of these are pieces of the puzzle for you to add to your due diligence and make a decision on this stock. I will tell you that I own this stock, and even with today's price action, I did buy some options on this stock. I think it's going up from here. But again, not financial advice. Best of luck to you guys investing, and thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.